Hey guys, this video is going to talk all about how you convert from one unit to another. This is going to be very, very important. When we were doing stoichiometry with Esh, things were great. We went from grams to moles, moles to moles, moles to grams. What you didn't know is essentially how to split that up. You do want to be able to do those shorter steps. As you saw in the test, you have to go moles to grams. You were put that on the review sheet, and you had to know that. That was essentially taking the long problem and just splitting it up into short problems. That's all that was. So I'm going to show you how you get through that, and I'm going to give you a little bit more information as we go. Okay. First thing you need to know is you are going to need to write this down. I would recommend 3 different colors. I'm going to try and color code them up here to make sense of it. When I have the red up here, the red shows you, you notice they all say A. That shows you one compound. So when I say that, I'm talking about iron or Fe or iron chloride or something like that. Okay? If that is my known, I put that as A. My unknown, which you guys are very good at finding out, is B. So if my unknown is lithium nitrate, that would be my B. Okay? That's what those mean. I just did the colors just to help you, to show you A versus B. I'm going to use green to show you how to get from one to the other. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the ones that you already know and make sense of it. I'll read it off to you. Let's do these first. Right in the middle. This is what you've learned already. Grams of A to moles of A. That's converting grams of one substance to moles of the same substance. So if I want to go from grams of iron to moles of iron, I would use this. Okay? Now how do you do that? Well, you use the periodic table, what's called the molar mass. So to do this, I'm going to write this in green. Okay? Use molar mass. And that's the periodic table. I just wrote periodic table just to remind you how you're getting from grams to mole. You're going to use the molar mass. Okay? Now, that should be a surprise whenever we did stoic, same thing. When you go moles, let's say moles of one thing to moles of another, how do you get there? You actually use the balanced equation, and that's called the mole ratio. So, to go from moles of A to moles of B, that's moles of one thing to moles of something else, you use what's called the mole ratio. Use So for that, you use the mole ratio. Okay, that's the balanced equation. You can write balanced equation right next to it. I didn't have a lot of room. I recommend on your paper maybe going long ways, taking a whole sheet of paper, and that's going to help you do that. So write balanced equation there so you know where the mole ratio comes from. Okay, moles of B to grams of B, same thing. You use the molar mass. Okay, this time the only difference is we're using the molar mass of B and not the molar mass of A. Okay? So same thing, use molar mass. And that is the periodic table. Okay? So all that should seem familiar to you. I'm going to show you a couple others. The reason I'm showing you these is because when we relate them later in this quarter, okay, when we talk about gases, guess what? Right there. Okay, you can already do it. You already know where they come from. You can reference it. When we talk about liquids and solutions, which is our next unit, okay, you can relate it. Okay, molecules you already know. You just haven't had a lot of practice with them. So, let me show you how to get from one to the other, and then in this series of videos, I'm going to literally show you how to do every sort of problem you could find. So if you have a question on a problem, you can get your answer immediately. Okay? So, let's fill in the rest of the chart. To get from grams milliliters of a liquid, okay, make sure it's a liquid, you're going to use the density. And the density is always going to be in grams per milliliter, okay? And usually that's going to be given to you. You don't have those memorized, okay? The density of water is 1. That's the easiest one. But most of them you aren't going to have memorized, so don't worry about that. You're always going to be given that number, okay? I'm going to put the same thing over there because it's the exact same thing, just instead of A, it's B. Two more to go and we are completely done with our chart. We have to go from moles to molecules. You'll remember Avogadro's number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd molecules in 1 mole. That's the conversion. You can flip that upside down and say that 1 mole equals 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd molecules. However you want to do that is fine, but that's the number you use. I drew arrows to both because that's how you do that step, okay? Once again, if you can't read that, it just says 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd molecules divided by 1 mole. To get to liters of a gas, you have to come from moles, okay? And you're going to use, this number will be brand new. This will be the one that we use later, but you will need to know it. So this is 22.4 liters of any gas. So that's the volume. Liters, think about volume, something that takes up space. Okay, 22.4 liters, which is pretty big, but it's not huge, not that big. But with that said, it equals 1 mole. And I do want to note here, okay, I just want to make it perfectly, not necessarily understand it yet, but that means standard temperature and pressure, okay? So this is at what we call STP. You will be learning all about STP in the coming weeks. Standard temperature and pressure, that means 1 atmospheric pressure, 25 degrees Celsius, thinking about room temperature, okay? So, write down this chart, know it, and a series of videos will show you exactly how to use it and become familiar with it so that you're ready to go later. Take care.